So welcome everybody back to another V8 Veterans race here on iRacing, and we are split 2 this week at Barber Motorsport Park. Just something a little bit different tonight. The races the last couple of seasons have blown out to over 2 hours. They used to be 40-minute races, which wasn't too bad. You know, 40 minutes is an alright time to have a video, but I don't expect anyone to sit there and watch someone else's race for 2 hours. So what I thought this week I'd try something a little bit different, cut the race down into highlights from my perspective, and give you a grasp of how the race went. So sit back, enjoy. Tonight's just, or this week's just something a little bit different to try. Leave your comments below if you prefer something like this. Takes a little bit more editing and a little more work behind the scenes, but if it's a product that you guys enjoy watching and is worth doing, then maybe I'll keep it up and do some more. So sit back, enjoy Split 2 V8 Veterans this week, Barber Motorsport Park in the V8 Holden Commodore. Hi everyone, welcome to Split 2 for V8 Veterans this week, Barber Motorsport Park. We're starting P13 on the grid. Didn't get the best of starts away here from the lights, but we did manage to sneak down the inside of our teammate there who got a lot of wheel spin. So we make our way into turn number 1 now. You can see a lot of these cars here are going 3 wide in places. One car there off on the inside making his way back on from an off-track excursion. Round 2 we find ourselves on the outside, so we'll give everybody plenty of room here just to make sure we still have a clean car for the early stages of the race. We pop in behind Mr. Duggan in the Nova Motorsport Commodore there, I think it is. Mustang, sorry. So we make our way down to the tight hairpin. Again, lots of cars still jostling for position, so we give ourselves plenty of room, take the wide line, try and get a good run out of here. We've got our teammate in the red and white Mustang on the inside in the PRA 007 of Warren Davis. So we find ourselves in a situation now coming into the little corkscrew section. We can almost slot into single file here. Warren has a bit of a look around the outside, but can't get the job done, so we make do. We sit in behind Aidan Rice, currently in 11th, so we made up a couple of spots off the start, and that pretty well sums up the start of our opening lap. So we skip forward to the start of lap number 4 now, and this is where my race comes unstuck for the first time. Big slide through turn number 1, all self-inflicted. My right-hand rear tyre just hits the grass, and of course poor old Warren Davis becomes collateral damage there, trying to do his best to avoid me going hard left. So we jump on board with Warren now. You can see from his view exactly how it all unfolded. And he ends off out in the weeds. So feeling absolutely terrible and horrible after that little contact. So we pull over and redress the position and basically go from inside the top 10 to near dead last. So we skip forward now to lap number 8. We're back up to 22nd, we've made a couple of passes and we're on the back of Timmy Betts, Wade Reynolds and Troy Sippel here, fighting just outside the top 20. It's taken us a couple of laps to catch these guys, but now we're here. We can see a big gaggle of cars in front, so it's going to be hard to try pecking these guys off one by one. We have a look down the inside here with Timmy into this hairpin. Good to see Tim giving plenty of room there on the exit. As a result, he gets a really good drive out of there. Gets the power down a little bit earlier and manages to get the run down this and back straight, so he moves back across, back onto the racing line, in through the corkscrew there, and the following lap he actually pulls over and gives me position on the straight, sort of gifted a position there. So thank you Tim for that, it's appreciated. Lap 12 now, so we've gained a second on Troy Sippel, we're right on the back of him for lap number 12. Get a good drive, short shift up into 3rd through there. Managed to get the job done up with that little blind kink up here. I know Troy's still on my inside on the left coming into this hairpin, so on the brakes, give him plenty of room, but he decides to pop in behind and follow me through anyway, so that's another position, a job done up to P18 now. We are lap 13 and again we've caught the back of Wade. We've dropped Troy by 1.5 seconds over the last lap. So we're on the back of this little train here of Wade Reynolds, Roy Clark and Jason Scoulter. So coming into this little section here, Scoulter actually tags the back of Rick Viger. Rick ends up in the fence and you just see us going through there for a free position as well. So unfortunate for Rick, but he manages to fight back as the race goes on. So lap 16 now, we're still here behind Wade. Sort of in a position where it's pretty hard to make our way through at the moment. We've got good speed on the guys in front, but you can't convert that into a pass because the passing opportunities here are quite limited unless somebody makes a mistake. And Wade, quite a skilled driver, he doesn't make those mistakes too often. So here we are, lap 16, and we see what causes the first safety car incident of the race. This is Shannon McMillan hitting the wall really hard on the right hand side of the track. So you just jump on board me now, and I'm P15. This is a lap later piece, lap 17 now, and they finally call the safety car as we pass him. So this is our first opportunity to dip in behind into the pits, and what we want to do is try and not replicate our balls up pit stop from last week, where we failed to take fuel and we only took tyres. So we dive into the pits here, lap 17 now. We follow the rest of the cars in to try to make the move, but I did exactly what we didn't want to do. For some reason, a setting in my iRacing hasn't been allowing me to put fuel in on that first stop, but I think I might have sorted it out now. So anyway, under safety car conditions, Hoff blows an engine through and doing a downshift. He's having trouble with his Fanatec gear shifter. You can see his smoke as in front of us as we dive into the pits for the second time in 2 laps in a row, and we have to take on our 72.2 litres this time around. So it's cost us an absolute bucket load of time. So we've gone from 15th back to 28th now, back towards the back of the field. So you can see the rest of the cars still under safety caution over on the right hand side of the circuit. So we exit the pits and we make our way around turns 2 and 3. We find Richard Barella, who's in P27, so we hop on the back of him and we wait for the lights to go green and racing to resume. So you can see there a little bit of damage on the front of the car, left hand side, from that contact with Warren Davis earlier on. So I didn't actually realise I had this damage at this point. But anyway, we're back under race conditions now. Lights go green. We've got Dave Baldock and Richard Barella in front of us here. Bit of a gap to Warren Davis in front over 3 seconds. So we've dropped the ball there a little bit and we've fallen behind the pack. But we do get a good drive out of here on Richard Barella and managed to get the job done on this little kink up the hill again, the little blind crest. And we also take Dave Baldock at the same time. So 2 for 1 move there, down into the braking zone. And I've got Dave on my left hand side, so give him plenty of room. Richard Barella follows me around the outside, gets good drive out of the hairpin on the outside here, and he gets the job done on Dave as well. So we come to this section here, I get a message saying there's a yellow flag and car off track, and it kind of just put me off a little bit, and I missed my braking marker. But you can see Pecky there on the left hand side rejoining the track after an excursion off into the green stuff. Lap 22 now, a third of the way through the race, and we are back in P25. So we're on the back of Fletcher Christian here at the moment. Just moving up the field, you can see Hoff here after his early engine blown excursion, just trying to get on the gas a little bit early. The back of the car steps out. He ends up on the side of the track. So I'm about to come through on the right hand side, so there's another position gifted to me. So that's P23 for us at the moment, as Hoff just falls back down the field a little bit. So we are now lap to 23 still. Peter Cran in front of us, 1.1 seconds just as we come into that section there, but it really doesn't take us long to get onto the back of him. We've got good speed over these guys in front and managed to get onto the back of these guys within a couple of corners. So halfway around the next lap now, lap 24, really good run here through that flip-flop on Peter. Managed to pull up on the inside of him, and for the next left-right, we've got the inside line. The job done there. P22, now we can focus on the car in front, that is Todd Martin. So a couple of laps later, still sitting behind Todd, big lock up there. We've gone from about 5 car lengths back to right underneath his rear wing after he made that big mistake there going into the second to last corner. Another mistake there from Todd with a lock-up. We've had to go on the outside of him to avoid hitting the back of him. Again, he runs wide there. We get a good run. We'll probably put a lot more pressure on him than what we did, but we're all about longevity here and trying to see the end of the race. So we're right underneath his back wing again here now. Another front brake block up there by Todd, so it's getting a pretty consistent little issue that he's having with his brake bias there, I guess. So we get a run out of here. Turn 2 on lap 26 now. Try and make the move that we've done on Richard Barella a little bit earlier on up through here. Had to back off out of the throttle just a little bit because we got squeezed up against the curb, which is fine. We have a look down the inside under brakes here. Try and hold it as tight as we possibly can. but because we're tight, we've got to get on the accelerator a little bit later than what Todd does on our right hand side, so he gets a good drive out of there, and we go into the corkscrew side by side with a little bit of overlap, so we roll out of it, give him the position to fight another day, another brake lock up there, and again another good run out of here, but we're on the wrong side of the track. But we're just sitting behind Todd at the moment, ride the curbs a little bit without losing too much speed. Still lap 26, another brake lock up there in front by Todd, big puff of smoke. Coming onto the straight, you can just see how close Andrew Hoffman is behind us again now, so we're definitely being held up by Todd. He's allowed off to gain 1.5 seconds in the last lap and a half, so we've got the speed over him, we just can't get by him at this point, so we've got to wait for him to make a mistake. So another big lock up there, another mistake made. That's 3 laps in a row. He's done the same thing with a brake lock up on the front right hand side. Get a reasonable run out of here, but the straight's not really long enough to have a dab under brakes, so we just stick our head out, have a look. Just last thing we want him to do is brake checks going into the braking zone, so we make sure we're clear. So still on lap 28, get a good drive up the hill. Todd moves to the right hand side on the racing line, leaves the door wide open into the hairpin, so we decide to have a look, clearly get the front of our car up level with his front tyre, and we do lock a bit of a brake there because he just decides to turn in as if there's nobody there on his left hand side, so complete disregard for anybody else out there. We've plenty of room for us to both go side by side through that section of the track, and we both could have been on our merry way, but an absolute stupid move there to cause us both an incident and lose an absolute heap of track time. So we'll just keep that in the back of our mind. The next time we come across him on track, we'll know we can't run door to door with him without him giving appropriate room and driving cleanly. So it says more about his ability and his racecraft than what he probably realises, but anyway, lesson learnt, and we move on. Pretty close to contact there, but we managed to avoid it. Just a late turn-in by Jace. Caught me off guard a little bit. And then all of a sudden Jace dives into the pits for his pit stop, lap 32, and we're on the back of Wayne. So Wayne just does a bit of a blinky bill trick here. And you see him just disappear for a split second, and then all of a sudden he's gone completely. So we keep our foot down to try and clear him. Not sure where he is at this point, and then just into the braking zone you can see him reappear behind us there. So that job's done, move is made. He's still blinking a little bit on the left hand side there, but we can focus on Dave Baldock, the car in front. So we're in P24, making our way down through this hairpin, get a reasonably good drive out of here, up the hill, and we've got our teammates, or sister team of PRA on our right hand side. That job done, Dave pulls in behind us without too much argument over the position there, down through the corkscrew, and job done. So halfway through the race, lap 33.66 there. Next lap we're on the back of Fletcher Christensen. Again, have a little bit of a look down into this hairpin, keep it nice and tight. Get reasonable drive up out of there again, and we pull ourselves clear. So that's just a perfect example of what Todd possibly could have done to avoid the carnage that he created there 2 or 3 laps ago. But it doesn't take us long to clear Fletcher, and you see a big puff of smoke there on the right hand side. That's Hoff again, find another engine. So another victim of the Fanatec gear shift that he was having problems with there. So lap 43 of 66 now, we decide to dive into the pits for our second and final time. Going to use our fast repair here and actually get that damage on the front of the car repaired, so we've got a clean car for the run home. So change the tyres, put in the fuel, and we are back out again. And we actually come out behind Jason McCartan again, so we're in P21 on lap 44 of 66. So we're 2/3 of the way through the race now. We need to start thinking about how we're going to get to that checkered flag without any other issues. A couple of laps later, we still find ourselves behind Jason McCartan, but Jason DiBietto has joined us for as well. So it's Jason, the trio is here in a row. Positions 19, 20, 21. I know Jason DiBietto's had a horrible run as well. He's got good speed and is probably pretty keen to make his way back through the field somewhat. So tried to get the move on McCartan there, couldn't get it done. So no change for position, it's all as per normal. Lap 49 now. A bit of a incident in front. We've got to get on the brakes super early to avoid the carnage. Still give him a little bit of a kiss and a nudge. You can see Pecky there on the right hand side having to avoid the incident as well, but we've got no damage on the front of our car from that little love tap. So we're good to go until the run home for another 25 odd laps. Lap 52 of 66 now, and we're still behind McCartan. We're currently sitting in P20. Get a pretty good run out of here. He moves across onto the racing line and we manage to pull up the side of him and get the job done here on the little left-right switchback. You can see Jace right on our rear tail there, but he actually dives into the pits just after that to have his final pit stop. So lap 53 now, and we're caught back onto Jason DiBietto. Not in a real hurry to try and make the move on him here. I'm pretty happy to work with him and try and catch Richard Barella in the green car up ahead. I don't want to go tripping over ourselves, and actually works into our favour. So the next couple of laps we make some ground on him. Big brake lock up there by Richard and Jason, and I think it might be Peter Latham as well, just going through that brake smoke there, the tyre smoke. Make our way onto the straight, and we're in lap 57 of 66 now. Jason has a bit of a brake lock up on the inside, getting the job done on Richard. Richard gets a pretty good drive out, and we try and follow Jason along this back straight. You can see a big pile of smoke up ahead too, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But we're on the outside here. We've got to concede to Richard, who's got the inside for this little corkscrew section. Pull back in behind him. We come out of here, you can really see just how much smoke is up ahead. And that's poor Reg James, who has blown an engine and parks it up just around this corner here, which actually brings out the next safety car. So have a look at how that all unfolded. So this is Reg here going into turn number 1 on lap 57. Replica of what I did on lap number 4. Got sideways and cleaned up the PRA driver of Roy Clark. So disappointing there for both Reg and Roy. Reg facing the wrong way there, does a bit of a flick turn and manages to keep going, but ultimately that's the end of his race. You can jump on board with Roy here and just see how hard that contact actually was. Scotty Weston sneaking through and avoiding it there on the inside as well. So Roy probably feeling pretty lucky at this point that he got away and dodged the bullet there. He comes up over the crest and he goes to turn left, and Meatball Flag, his car just doesn't want to turn. The steering's damaged and his race is done. So he's got to dive into the pits for repairs. And unfortunately for both Reg and Roy, they drop out of the top 10. So their pain becomes my, I won't say pleasure, but my good luck. So the safety car's brought out again here with 6 laps to go. You see Jason DiBietto there just serving a drive-through penalty under the safety car there for incident points. So we're back under racing again. We've got Richard Barella in front of us going into the hairpin on lap 61 after the race restart. Holding it nice and tight through the hairpin. Another example of just how Todd could have handled that situation earlier in the race. It's lap 62 now. We're on the back of Jason DiBietto, and we've got Peter Latham on our right hand side. Peter gets a really good run up the hill and gets the job done there. Gets the pass made. So we're in a gaggle of cars here, 1, 2, 3, about 6 cars, and we're sitting about 4th. So Jace runs a little bit wide here under brakes. We managed to get down the inside of him, get the gas down early. I'm not sure if you can actually hear it here, but my accelerator pedal has been spiking throughout the race, and it cuts in and out there for a second or two. So Jace gets the run on the inside again, and position we just made, we lose again. Not too sure why it's doing that, but you know, issues with equipment is part of racing. So we're lap 63 of 66 now, and we see Latham and Sippel up in front have a little bit of contact, and those two there just end off on the right hand side on the exit of turn number 1. So Jason and myself managed to sneak through. There's a couple of positions gifted to us in the late dying stages of the race. About this point now, I'm getting the sense that Jace is really struggling, and I'm not too sure why it is, whether it's the tyres or fuel. But we've actually jumped onto the back of him again now. We're only less than half a second behind, and the laps are counting down. Lap 65 now, and Jace brakes about the 400 metre mark instead of about the 150 to 200 metre mark like we normally do. I'm not too sure why. He sort of caught me off guard there a little bit, so I definitely know he's struggling somehow, whether it's saving fuel or whether his tyres are shot. So we're pretty keen to get the job done here, but by the same token, we don't want to throw away a good result. So Jason doing a really, really good job here of making that car as wide as he needs to just make it as difficult as he can for me to get around. So we're on the last lap now, white flag as we cross the line. I'll get a run down the inside of him going into turn 1. Kind of get squeezed up against the curb there a little bit. We have a bit of a slide, but we all manage to keep going, so game on. We are door-to-door handle through this section here as tight as we want to be. He gets the inside run, moves back across and shuts the door on it out of the nose of our Commodore, so that position there is still up for grabs. He decides to defend on the inside going into the hairpin, which is a pretty smart move, make us go the long way around. So it has a bit of a brake lock-up, but the little battle we're having is costing us time, and over the last 2 laps I reckon we've probably lost 3.5 seconds. So that's brought Richard Perella and Mark Peck back into it, so they must be rubbing their hands together, just hoping the two of us are going to collide and come together. And then this happens, everybody disappears, so I hold my breath for a moment. I've got my own blinking issues with the internet, and we reappear. So with a handful of corners to go, I really don't think this move's going to get done. All I want to do is make it, see the checkered flag and record some points after last week's disappointment at Bathurst. So we're definitely on the back of Jace now. We are definitely holding up the train of the cars behind us, but there's not a lot we can do with only a couple of corners to go. We'll get a pretty good run out of here. I try and take it wide with the switchback, as you can see. Not really an attempt to make a pass here, but I try and dummy him into making a mistake, but he doesn't do it. We get a run onto the straight, and that is our 66 laps P12 around Barber Motorsport Park. So it was a pretty eventful night. Some of the incidents could have been avoided. Very unfortunate for Warren in that early stages of the race. We could have avoided the carnage with Todd had he shown some patience. But in the end, we brought it home for a P12. We'll take that. So please leave a comment, hit the like and subscribe button to the channel. I do read the comments, and if you enjoyed this format with the summary of how the race went, let me know below and we might do some more. So we'll be back next week for round number 3, and as we always say, keep on punching, and bye for now.